And actually, TLA shared this with us in a live. He said that whenever you're having a conversation with anyone, if there are any words that you do not understand, stop for a second, ask them to tell you what exactly does this mean, or when you use this term, what do you mean? In order for you to be coming from a place knowing exactly what they mean by saying it, as opposed to you assuming that they mean a specific thing. So I can say that, I appreciate that. All right. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. Glad to be up on the panel. Thank you so much for pulling me up.
Oh, man. Pleasure to have you here. Yeah, so we have Before the Billions. He's a celebrity out here.
Nowhere near it, man. Man, nowhere near it, man.
I've really had some great time on your platform with us having our many discussions. And, I can say that, I found community in what we're building here. So this is really great. And so what can you say about first principles? What do you know about first principles? What can you say about it? What's your experience with it?
So I have no clue. Can you tell me them? Cause I just came in.
No, it's fine. So like I was saying before, like this, and you can speak to this. So would you say that in tech, you've experienced situations where people are using acronyms and terms that make people feel left out? It's like an inclusive group that uses terms where it makes them feel like they're part of an in group. And then if you don't know these terms or phrases, then you're part of an out group. So I work for an engineering firm. So, when we use terms like, SAP or maybe SOP, or let me see, we could say point Kaizen. I mean, it's a number of different things that could be really said, but it's a lot of terms that might not be known by everyone specifically, especially acronyms, but it's something that maybe only the in group would really know what they mean. So first principles is one of the concepts where it just says, it's just breaking things down to the basic form. Imagine, I don't know if you've ever played with Legos before, right?
Yes.
All right. So when Legos come, they come in a box, right? Generally speaking, it's usually a box or some kind of plastic, right?
It's some kind of bag or a box. Yeah.
Right. So would you say like the core fundamentals of a Lego set is a block, right? Right. But then you have a series of blocks that you assemble and put together in order for you to create a said outcome, right?
The foundation.
Hold on. I don't even know if we. I want to say, okay, all right. I wanted to make sure that you're showing up. Okay, yep. So it essentially is just like foundational items that come together in order for them to create like a big or a given outcome. So Elon Musk has used first principles in order for him to develop rocket technology, right? He discovered that the manufacturers, the aerospace manufacturers, were charging a lot of money in order for them to create rockets for him. And he said, hey, what do I need to do in order for me to figure out a way to create the same exact thing, given that I know or I have an idea of how these need to come together? So it's just working backwards to figure out, hey, what is present in this technology and what can we do in order for us to produce the same exact thing without having to pay somebody else for it? But it's an assumption-free method. So you can't take any previous knowledge that you've seen or that you understand from anywhere before. It's only like the things that are right there before you. It's like a dissection of a sort, It's only the stuff that you have right before you.
Yeah, and to answer your first question is that yes, working in tech, you do have a lot of acronyms, a lot of terms that are used that people who are outside of it do not understand. I actually had to ask one of my old coworkers, how do you explain things to people who are not in tech? Putting it in layman's terms. You have to put it in the most simple way as possible. And one of my old bosses used to tell me is that explain it to me like I'm stupid. That's what he would say. He was like, explain it to me like I'm dumb, like I have no clue what's going on. And then that's how he's able to understand whatever you're trying to say. And he was an intelligent man. He got his CISSP, which is the certified security professional, right? So that is a very difficult exam to take, and also a very difficult exam to pass to get your certification. He said that he barely studied for it and he was able to get it. But he still will say, okay, you know what? I need to understand exactly what you're saying. So explain it to me in the foundation, right? And then far too often do we just feel lazy. That's really the biggest reason why we have the acronyms. You just don't feel like having to say the whole thing. And that's really it. Like we have some acronyms like the SOC, right?
Yeah.
You can like a SOC, like the Security Operations Center, the NOC, the Network Operations Center, the CISSP, there's a whole bunch of different acronyms that you have just to shorten words up because you don't feel like having to say the whole thing out. And that does alienate some people because now you got to sit down there and ask, what does that mean? And usually you'll be talking and then you're used to using these words, but then somebody will say, oh, well, I have no clue what it is, but I'm too nervous to say, what does this mean in the middle of a meeting, right? And especially if you're actually in the office in a room full of people and you have no clue what they're talking about. And my first job, I was like, man, they're talking over my head. I had to ramp up to understand what something means. And then, they may say it, and then later on I forget what it means. And then now trying to have a whole conversation about it again. They already told me what it was before. So now what I do in order to combat that is to actually have some sort of dictionary. I create a dictionary for every company that I move to or whatever. Just full of acronyms and words, because people sometimes they just make up words. It has like whatever they said like in a meeting one day, and they just created a term for it. So
yeah. So given that you came from like the educational environment, right? So would you say that you used that whenever you came from like the theoretical environment, coming from school, then transitioning into the tech space? You definitely had to figure out a way for you to understand what they meant at that specific company compared to what you were taught in the classroom, right?
Yes, because school does not teach you very much, not much of anything when it talking about when you get into the industry. That's what it's not only in tech, but it's also in all these other different careers. Yeah, pocket watching with JT, who says, yeah, you can have these career students, and you have like people who got their PhD, these professors and stuff like that, and they have no clue how to manage the clients that they get or anything like that. They don't have the industry knowledge. They don't have the practice of actually going into the career. So it's a complete shift when you're going from school to actually getting a job in the industry.
Yeah. So it's definitely important to build a bridge. One of the things I've also discovered is that what I'm hearing about people, especially as it pertains like an understanding, is that people who actually use the most technical terms are not always regarded as being like the most attractive. And when I say attractive, like the people don't admire them. Like they said that, our previous president had like a core following of people because whenever he spoke in simple terms. He didn't use terms that made anyone feel alienated. He could speak in the sense that a fifth grader could really understand. And that's a challenge of my own because, like I said earlier, I've used these concepts in order for me to make myself feel good as far as like me saying, hey, I'm educated, I have higher level knowledge than everyone else. But then I discovered that it does alienate people and it makes people feel left out. And actually TLA shared this with us in a live. He said that whenever you're having a conversation with anyone, if there are any words that you do not understand, stop for a second, ask them to tell you what exactly does this mean, or when you use this term, what do you mean? In order for you to be coming from a place knowing exactly what they mean by saying it, as opposed to you assuming that they mean a specific thing. So I can say that, I appreciate that.